Hey, everybody, and welcome into another exciting episode of the Level Playing Field podcast. Today, we have another amazing topic to go over. In the news, as always, um, foreign athletes, international student athletes competing in the NCAA, but not just that. It's not just about foreign athletes taking away opportunities from American athletes. Now we're adding in a whole nother level to this because how old are they? I don't know. We're going to find out today. So,
And, and,
uh,
and and that's been, and Andrew, that's been our whole argument. Like, look, we know it's going on, and we've been talking about this forever. Okay, and we broke that news on our podcast, and no one knew that there's 25,000 scholarships that are being awarded to foreigners with this crazy NCAA. If the NCAA had it their way, it would be the International Collegiate Athletic Association, and it's not. Okay, for these four final teams that are playing for the National Football Championship, all four of them have punters from Australia. Now, Andrew and I, we broke it months ago to you that there was a foreign punter on Villanova's football team that was 33 years old. He played at East Carolina, and somehow or another he got more eligibility. Now he's playing at Villanova. Well, as you heard on the announcers of the national championships that are occurring, they were talking about how all four teams have punters. Now listen to Andrew. All four teams that are in the finals have punters, and every one of them should either be in the NFL or be out of college. And that's the unfairness of the competition. We have millions of athletes that are 18 and 19 years old in college, right? That they have to pick from. Millions. I mean, 60 million youth compete a year in athletics, right? So there's plenty of punters in America that they could pick up. But listen to these numbers. Andrew's going to give them to you. Andrew.
yeah. So Dennis calls me the other day, and he goes, "I heard this that every punter from the final four teams are from Australia. Is that true?" So I go on and I look it up. Sure enough, it is. But that's not the staggering part of it. It's like we said, we talk about the opportunities of these student athletes to get a scholarship and everything. And when you're coming out of high school, you are 18 years old. So 18 plus 4 years of eligibility, 22 years old. Okay, that's your standard college age.
With a red shirt, with a red shirt, give them a year, 23.
Give them a year. Give them a year, 23. Okay. So let's just roll down the list right now. So the final four teams that were in the playoff, Ole Miss has a sophomore who is 24 to 25 years old. Oregon,
so he'll be 27. He'll be 27.
Yes. So by the time he's graduating, he'll be 27. Oregon has a senior who's 24, 25. Miami has a junior who's 25, 26. And Indiana, winner, chicken dinner, senior who's 29 to 30 years old. Now, how is an 18-year-old supposed to compete with someone who's physically 6, 7, 8 years their senior, competing against them, especially in kicking? I mean, it's all lower body strength. I mean, you mature physically so much more past 25. You're a professional at that point.
Absolutely. And you're a man. You're a man. Look, Kirk Cignelli has a lot of, everyone's, so proud of the guy. He coached at the University of Pittsburgh when I was there, and I had a lot of fun with the guy. All right? I was hoping when things settled down, I was going to call him and congratulate him. I'm going to call him and kick him in the ass. That's what I'm going to do. How in God's name can you have a 29-year-old, and that's what I'm going to tell him. How in God's name can you have a 29-year-old, 30-year-old punting the ball from a foreign country, Kirk? Okay, all your great success that you've had and how you've turned the country upside down with your passion and your sincerity and your trueness and bringing in underachievers to achieve great things, right? You're talking about God. Your quarterback's talking about God. Man, all great stuff, but that is pathetic. Okay, there's millions of young athletes, that would give everything. And talk, Andrew, tell them about these camps that these kids go to. for punting and this and that. Tell them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole industry. The specialist community is a humongous industry. Kids are specializing and trying to get scholarships to go kick at these major universities. I mean, that's like the running joke, right? Is like, I would love to be in the NFL, but I'll be the punter or kicker because I'm not taking those big hits, right? But like that for some people, that's a realistic opportunity. They're like, I didn't make it in soccer. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to go and kick and do this. You're taking away opportunities from them. So now another thing that I wanted to talk about was during the last game when Indiana was playing in Oregon. They put up that graphic, right? And it was awesome. It was like Indiana has 0 5-stars. They only have 7 4-star players, and every other program, Ole Miss, Miami, Oregon, they all have like 4, 5, 7 5-star kids. They all have 40 or 30 different 4-star kids. It's like Indiana, like the underdog. They also showed what the ages were. Actually, I don't know if they showed it on the broadcast or if I saw this online somewhere. The ages. Indiana is the oldest team by far. So that's why they're really having that success. And Signetti found the loophole. I give him full credit. He found the loophole. He's going to win at any cost because that's his job. But that's what we're talking about. All right, guys, let's take a second to talk about our friends over at Summit Web Search. The internet is a big place. And if you're running a business, just being online anymore isn't enough. You have to stand out from your competition. That's where the team at Summit Web Search comes in. They help businesses with digital marketing, web design, graphic design, but what really separates them is how they prepare companies for where things are going. With AI coming in and changing the way people search for information online, you have to stay ahead of the curve. Instead of guessing and chasing trends, Summit Web Search focuses on what makes your business show up where it actually matters, in front of the people that are going to spend money with you. You need to chase those people down who are already online looking for your product. Because in a world where visibility is everything, that's what being online is all about. It's being positioned to win day in and day out and get your clients the products that they want. So if you're ready to stop guessing and start getting found, check out Summit Web Search and let them help you level the playing field. All right, let's get back to the show.
Andrew.
Yeah.
The punter probably drove the median up. You understand? So what I would tell you though is, and this is what they forget. Okay, we got these great American amateur athletes in high school and in college, and they participate in punting. They got to run. They got to be part of the team. They got to do all of the workouts that the regular team does. They become part of the team through sweating with them, through all of the sacrifices that they make, getting up early, going to bed late. I mean, all stuff, rubbing elbows in the dining halls, and the whole social togetherness that they form that team, right? Now, that kid is taught how to tackle. That kid is taught how to recover a fumble, just in case they fumble the ball. You understand? He's taught how to fake a punt, right? And there's millions of quarterbacks out there that they also, as a backup, they all know how to punt the ball, right? They do the pooch punt. Or let's say it's 3rd and 18 from midfield and you're in a tight game. Your quarterback just pooch punts it. He punts it. So pretty much every quarterback who's in a high-level football program is taught how to punt the ball. Do you understand? Now, how many of them, if they waited for a year or 2 or 3, all right, waited until they were 22 or 23 years old and totally had the time to develop their punting skill, right? And they knew that they could get into college at 23 years old and just punt the ball, they'd be 10 times better than those Australians that don't know anything about football. And then like we had talked about, look, if I'm the defensive coordinator and I know that there's a foreign punter, I'm going to lay him out. Do you understand? I'm going to lay him out. I know, that they're not going to fake the punt because he's a coward and he's not going to try to run the ball because he just got laid out by one of my guys. You understand? So it's a game changer. For me, if I was a defensive coordinator, and I hope they're listening to me, lay him out. Do you understand? Then you know he's yours. You own him. He can't tackle your guy. So and how about what does Kirk Cignetti think about only having 10 guys to tackle? You don't have a tackle. If you're at a disadvantage, how about if the guy breaks on the big punt that they break in for a touchdown or for extra yards? So is all that worth it, Andrew, to get an extra 5 or 8 yards or 10 yards on a punt in a game? No, it's not worth it. And remember, and Andrew, remember, it's not the International Collegiate Athletic Association. It's the National Collegiate Athletic Association, and it makes me sick that it's happening in football because we've been talking about it for forever, about how it's affected women's sports tremendously in tennis, in golf, in volleyball, in soccer. I mean, you just go right down the list. Even in basketball, I saw that UCLA has two Croatians playing basketball for UCLA. Oh my, female basketball. I'm like, what in God's name is going on here? So something, look, on our next segment too, we're going to talk about some crazy stuff that's going on, more NCAA absurdity. So somebody, I mean, if there's ever been a time that the NCAA and these universities need to get straightened out, is now. They have no business having 4 foreigners punting the ball for them and their ages, for God's sake. How could you compare apples to apples? You're comparing apples to oranges. An 18, 19-year-old in high school and going in to be a freshman, and he should graduate, you said, when he's 22 or 23, right? We have guys that are 29 and 30 at Indiana. How does that? How does that?
So that's the interesting part. That's the interesting part, is that in America, let's say, I don't even know what the rule is, to be honest. I have to look this up. But like, when you graduate high school, we don't have the option in America to go and do something else for 3 years. You go to college or you go into the workforce. Now, the rule is in the NFL, you cannot get drafted into the NFL until you are 3 years removed from your high school graduation. So in Australia, it's different. You can play professionally as soon as you walk out of the door of high school. And that's pretty much the case all throughout Europe. I know there's a case for college basketball right now where there was a guy who, don't quote me on this, I forget where he's from. I think he's from Africa, but he played in the NBA, or no, he played in college, went to the NBA draft, played in the summer league, and now is petitioning the NCAA to go back to college, and because he has more eligibility. And it's like, how this was so cut and dry a couple years ago. It's like, no, you got paid. If you received money, you don't get to play college sports anymore because you're no longer an amateur. You have taken the step to be a professional athlete. Congratulations. That's an amazing accomplishment. So you look at these kids coming from other schools, and they're like, or from other schools, from other countries, what have they been doing for 3 years? What have they been doing for those years out of high school? They've been probably playing at a semi-pro or pro level.
Oh my word, Andrew. Andrew, here's the thing.
How's it fair? Hey guys, do me a favor real quick. Look down. Are you subscribed to the channel? If you are, thank you so much. If you're not, please click subscribe. It helps us so much keep bringing you the conversations that no one else is having. Thanks, guys. Okay, let's get back to the conversation.
Just the maturity.
Yeah.
That the difference between a 23 or 24-year-old and a 18, 19-year-old. Look, I played against BYU. Those guys go on tours, right?
Yes.
As part of their Mormon mission, right? I played against a guy by the name of Trevor Maddich. He's on ESPN right now. I kicked the you-know-what out of him, by the way. If you ever said my name to Trevor Maddich, you go, ooh, you know. I beat him all over the place, right? He was 25. I was 21. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I was a rare exception. He was 25 years old. When he got drafted by the New England Patriots, he was 25 years old. I was just a sophomore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no, I was a junior. I was 21. Mm-hmm. So I was 22 when I graduated, right? I was 17 when I went to college. I had a redshirt year. I was 22 when I graduated from college. So the difference is night and day. Mm-hmm. And this is what's happening with our female athletes and our other men's athletes across the country. Exactly what you just said, Andrew. Mm-hmm. These guys are going out to the world championships, the junior world cups, and the like, and they're seeing all these young soccer players and volleyball players and hockey players even. It's affected men's and women's hockey. Mm-hmm. We have Canadians and Scottish and Norwegians and you name them, they're playing hockey. Do you understand? So it's not just the NCAA football, and this just gets us to sound a larger alarm, okay, to ring a larger bell. And I wish we could knock the NCAA out and then let the bell ring. They need to get knocked out, mm-hmm. and because they are permitting, and track and field is sick. I have a friend of mine that's coaching the Division I track and field. He spoke to me about it. He's like, he wants to throw up because what's happening is the young athletes can't compete or compare to these 23 and 24-year-olds that are competing overseas or just in the age category. So these coaches are coming and getting these athletes, including the punters, and all the money they have. Think about it, Andrew. And all of the commitments that they need to make to the great American amateur athletic experience, that they would have the audacity, the 4 top college teams in the country, to bring in a foreign punter, for God's sake. And for all the reasons we're talking about, the NCAA needs intervention. I mean, the powers that be, the congressmen, the senators, the president of the United States, the governors, you name it, they all need to weigh in on this, and they cannot let foreigners, 25,000 of them, come in, including football, and take our American athletic opportunities. And especially what we've discovered is they're all 23 and 24-year-old freshmen, and they're 28 and 29-year-old seniors, for God's sake. How can you what is fair? And Andrew, here's what's so aggravating. I'm an amateur. I was so blessed to be part of the football community and be a Division I football player and sign a pro football contract. And I was so blessed to wrestle in the Olympics, right? And box amateurly. So I have both views, and this affects both the Olympic sports, and it affects now our football. Our American football is being defiled by the NCAA is just letting them go ahead and do it. But it's got to stop, Andrew. And you know what? I was watching. We have the Winter Olympics coming up. My daughter was watching the skating, the Winter Olympics, all the skating. And let me tell you something, Andrew. Even in our Olympic Committee sports, all of the Americans, there was one competing that had a name Jason. One of them had a name Jason. All of the others, all foreigners, Andrew. In our Winter Olympic sports, foreign name, foreigners. And look, I don't have a problem with foreigners. My parents were foreigners, right? But I was born here. I was raised here. I went to a high school in America, and I qualified and got a scholarship and did my thing. But we can't have foreigners not even going to high school here and coming over and competing for the same exact reasons. Do you understand? They're all in their 20s. Go ahead. Going on 30.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. And it needs to start with the NCAA first and foremost, because that's 25,000 of them a year. I don't know how much it's affecting the Olympic sports, but my buddy who's a track and field guy, he says it's having a huge factor on the Olympic sports, right, Andrew, because what we're doing is we're taking a 23 or 24-year-old foreigner, we're giving them a scholarship, right? Then what we're doing, we're training them. We're the most advanced training facilities in the world. In Africa, they don't have what we have. In Europe, they don't have what we have. In South America, they don't have. America is the greatest athletic country in the world, right? So now what we do is we give them those resources to become that much more advanced athletes. We take their scholarship away from our 18 or 19-year-old, so we're not developing our 18 and 19-year-old athletes. Are you hearing me, Andrew? You hear me. Then, to boot, To boot, they're taking our scholarships, so they're taking their scientific minds and their engineering minds and their doctoral minds and their mathematic minds back to their countries. So they're robbing our intellectual properties. So it's such a disaster, and it needs to be weighed in on like yesterday. And we've been sounding the bell. But please, everybody out there who's listening and watching, man, you got to get on the horn because this is your son, this is your daughter, your grandchild, your nephews, your nieces. These are their opportunities that are being stolen, even from our big universities all over the place. So the only way to stop it is we the people. And we're talking about the 250th anniversary of America right now, and the way to keep that light shining is through you all voicing your opinion. The Minutemen in Pennsylvania, I said this on the last show. The Minutemen of Pennsylvania were the Minutemen that came forward when General George Washington was in Valley Forge. He was getting his you-know-what kicked. They knocked him out of the New England states, Boston. He came down, got beat up in New York, got beat up in New Jersey. He came to Pennsylvania, and our Minutemen came forward, and we fought that battle in Valley Forge and won his first battle. And he got a lot of encouragement and a lot of energy from that, and our nation is what it is today. So all I'm asking is for all of you Pennsylvanians in particular and nationwide, get on your phones, and call and complain and stop giving them money. And most importantly, Andrew, tell them what to do with their eyes. Tell them what to do with their eyes.
That's it. So I'll play devil's advocate for 1 second, and then I'll destroy the argument as I kind of make it. But to the whole point that I see people online, we thank you for everyone for commenting and subscribing to all of our content and interacting with us. But I see a lot of comments that say, like, when we talk about these type of things, is how, oh, like, you're just like, it's a different type of DEI. Like, if people are the best at what they do, they should be able to have the have the opportunity to do it. And to that point, sure, let's let them make that point. Okay. But how old are you? Do you want, or what is the point of collegiate athletics? Number one, is it amateurism? It's clearly not anymore, but that was the point of it. It was the highest level of amateurism besides the Olympics. So if you're going to say that, okay, amateurism is out the window, are we going to say there's a age restriction? So you have to be 18 to 22 to play, or 17 or 17 to 23? Is that like the window that you have to play? Because if that's the case, then this whole problem goes away. Because like your point is that all these international student athletes, 9 out of 10 times are 23 plus. That's why they're getting those positions. Correct. We're not talking.
That's why you're
America. Why does America win gold medals all the time at the Olympics? It's because we have the best athletes, we have the best facilities, we have the best training, all of that. We put athletics so high on our priority list, and we win. That's the case. And we also, have an amazing talent pool to pick from here in America, 300 million people. So if you're going to make that argument, I'm going to come back and say, okay, well, guess what? Not only do you not get to bring over 23-year-olds to compete against our 18-year-olds, which is the exact thing that happened in the Miracle on Ice, right? Isn't that the whole shtick? That, like, we had a bunch of college kids versus professional athletes? No, duh, that the Russians were favored to win. They were signed up like all the NHL players, everybody who's playing over. Well, at that point, I think they were all in the Soviet leagues. But you're playing against professional athletes. You're playing against people who are not only more physically developed, but mentally developed. And that is such you want to talk about, mental health, sports psychology, all the things, the mental side of sports that go into competing at the highest of high levels. Well, when you're 18, 19 years old.
Andrew, your elasticity, your brain exactly. Elasticity comes with age, and it's just a matter of technique. it comes down to your technique. So if you're being taught advanced techniques, but you're 2 or 3 or 4 years older, you've had that much more time for your elasticity and for you to adjust to that particular technique or position that you're playing or sport that you're involved in. You understand? So to give to give somebody a 3 and 4 and 5 year advantage over our American athletes is improper. Do you understand? Our American athletes should be able,
apples and oranges.
Yeah, our athletes deserve to be to get the equal attention that in age and that time to train, that they could be far more superior at that age to those that they're competing against. Do you understand? And getting back to the whole international thing. I mean, we got to get Penn State straightened out. I mean, they got a wrestler on their team from Japan. I mean, we got the greatest state in wrestling in the world. Penn State is the top facility in the world right now for wrestling. We got a Japanese. I'm going to watch them on Friday. I'm going to watch them. I haven't watched them yet, but I hope, and that's in freestyle. They bring him over. He has a whole different technique than folk style. Never wrestled folk style. I hope the folk style wrestlers in this country beat him up morning, noon, and night. I hope he don't win a match, okay? Because what is Penn State doing, bringing in a Japanese kid? But look, here's what I would tell you. All right, there's all kind of things going on in our country, and we got to keep praying. And prayer works. That's the most important thing we can do. The second thing is there's a lot of vices right now in our country. We have a gambling epidemic, which needs to be addressed. Okay, and that's one of the other issues I ask you to do is we got to get it off of advertising on TV. But there's so many other vices, and we have this great website. It's called Armies for Jesus. Look, I don't care what your problem is, what your addiction is. There's computer addictions. There's cell phone addictions. There's all kind of drug and alcohol addictions, gambling addictions. I mean, there's really a big pressure on these young men and women. That's why we need them in athletics, because the record's real clear. Kids that compete in athletics do so much better than kids that aren't. And me and Andrew, our goal is to open up the door for those 60 million young athletes and expand amateur athleticism, not see it on such a decline like it is right now. But look, Armies for the number 4 Jesus. Any of you men and women, youngsters suffering, there's a great remedy to heal and to overcome those demons. So please go to that website. And thank you for tuning in to this program, and God bless you.
Yep. Yeah. So this my final thought here. Again, like this has nothing to do. Let me restart that. The world isn't fair. That's not what we're arguing. We're not arguing politics. We're not arguing about race. We're not arguing about religion. That's part of the world. The world isn't fair. What we're arguing about is sports. And sports are supposed to be fair. Everyone's supposed to play by a set of rules. And this is a prime example of how there is no set rules and people are not playing inside a box. They are outside the box, running around, finding alternative advantages to get your program a step ahead of the other one. And that's not fair. And then who it really hurts, it hurts, number one, the athletes, the kids. Number two, the coaches, people who have put their careers around this, because they're real people with real families who need to make money. So they need to then prioritize what's most important. And it's not about the kids anymore. It's not about teaching the youth. It's not about bettering Americans. Now it's about winning at all costs. And if you don't win, you're fired. And if you're fired, you don't provide for your family. So it's about changing the societal approach to how we look at this stuff. And yes, the NCAA needs some teeth. They are a rudderless ship, and they get sued every time they try to do something. So Congress needs to step in. We need lawmakers to step in and really just right the ship, because right now college sports it's the Wild West, and it is flying by the seat of its pants, and nobody knows what's going on. So Anyway, we're going to wrap up the show right now, but thank you everyone for listening. And if you're interested in more stories like this, we're going to continue to provide a different look and a different aspect kind of outside the lines as far as, everything that's going on in college sports, pro sports, and youth sports. So like and subscribe to the channel and check us out on all our social media channels. And until next time, have a great day.